Hello and welcome. Coming up are the headlines for today. Vision Economic Forum launched in Oman. Pregnant women to get vaccinated without appointment. Violator of consumer protection law gets 3 months imprisonment. Students will be vaccinated at schools in Oman. Faroe Islands activists slam killing of hundreds of dolphins. California Governor Gavin Newsom defeats recall attempt. US pressuring India to restart COVID-19 vaccine exports. Klopp terms Emma Raducanu as talent of the century. Dominant South Africa clean sweep Sri Lanka 3-0 in T20 International Series. Those are the headlines. Now for a quick weather fact. Tropical storms are given names from a predetermined and pre-approved list by the World Meteorological Organization or WMO. There is a naming system in place where names can only be repeated after 6 years. However, if a storm causes large amounts of destruction, that name is retired permanently and a new name starting with that letter is added to the list. This system was invented to easily distinguish different storms happening at the same time in different parts of the world. That was the fact for the day, and now for the weather update from Oman Meteorology and Civil Aviation Authority. An alert has been issued indicating reduced horizontal visibility during fog formation. Seas are also expected to be rough along the coastal areas of the Arabian Sea. Apart from this, we've got partly cloudy to cloudy skies along the coastal areas of Dhofar Governorate and adjoining mountains with chances of intermittent drizzle. The rest of the governorates will see mainly clear skies with chances of medium and high clouds advection. There is also a possibility of convective cloud formation over the Al Hajar Mountains towards the afternoon. There are also chances of late night to early morning low-level clouds or fog patches along the coastal areas of the Arabian Sea and the Oman Sea. With that, let's take a look at what the weather will be like throughout the Sultanate. Muscat will be partly cloudy with temperatures between 29 degrees Celsius and 33 degrees Celsius. MUSANDAM will be partly cloudy with temperatures between 30 and 38 degrees Celsius. North Al-Batana will be partly cloudy with temperatures between 30 and 36 degrees Celsius, whereas South Al-Batana will be sunny with temperatures between 30 and 40 degrees Celsius. Al-BURAIMI will be partly cloudy with temperatures between 28 and 44 degrees Celsius. Al-Dahira will be sunny with temperatures between 28 and 43 degrees Celsius. Al-Dakhliya will be partly cloudy with temperatures between 27 and 40 degrees Celsius. North Al-Sharqiya will be partly cloudy with temperatures between 24 and 41 degrees Celsius. And South Al-Sharqiya will also be partly cloudy with temperatures between 28 and 34 degrees Celsius. Al-Wusta will be partly cloudy with temperatures between 24 and 42 degrees Celsius. And Dhofar will also be partly cloudy with temperatures between 26 and 30 degrees Celsius.
Oman's largest online supermarket now has no minimum order limit. From grocery to household items, Rafiq has everything that you want. Enjoy worry-free shopping with over 8,000 products to choose from and get it delivered straight to your doorstep. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Welcome back to Midday Update. Let's first look at the COVID-19 updates for the day. The Ministry of Health has announced a registration of 0 new deaths due to COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, keeping the total number of deaths to 4,090. The Ministry of Health has also announced a registration of 45 new COVID-19 cases, taking the total cases in the Sultanate to 303,268. There were 84 recoveries in the past 24 hours, and the total number of recoveries now stand at 293,498. The ministry has urged everyone to adhere to social distancing instructions issued by the Supreme Committee and the Ministry of Health. Now for the local stories. Vision Economic Forum's 10th session entitled National Industries Leading the Phase of Economic Recovery was launched along with the participation of a wide selection of experts and specialists in national industries and industrial innovation from both the Sultanate and abroad, Oman News Agency said in a statement. The forum discussed subjects such as the pandemic recovery paths, national industries' first access, the future of the industrial sector in light of national priorities, industrial innovation and accelerators for the advancement of the sector, in addition to industrial empowerment, diversification, innovation and sustainability. Pregnant women will be allowed to receive the COVID-19 vaccine without pre-booking an appointment on September 18th at Oman Convention and Exhibition Center, Government Communications Center said. In line with the World Health Organization's announcement of the International Day for Patient Safety, which falls on September 17th and which comes this year under the slogan Safe Care for Motherhood and Childhood, the Director General of Health Services in the Government of Muscat announces that pregnant women and residents will receive the COVID-19 vaccine without pre-booking an appointment on September 18, 2021 at the Oman Convention and Exhibition Center from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. A violator of the consumer protection law in Salalah, Dhofar Governorate, was sentenced to 3 months of imprisonment and was slapped with a fine of 3,000 Omani riyals, Consumer Protection Authority said. The Salalah Consumer Protection Department received a complaint from a consumer who reported that he had purchased a vehicle from a car agency, but shortly after receiving the vehicle, he noticed air entering the vehicle, a sound coming from the doors, in addition to a malfunction in the passenger seat and water entering from the roof of the vehicle. Therefore, the consumer went to the agency where they checked the vehicle and changed some parts, but the problem continued, which prompted him to submit his complaint to the administration, demanding to return the vehicle and return the amount or replace the vehicle with a new one of the same model and specifications. Accordingly, the authority took the necessary measures. The complaint was examined, and since both the parties failed to reach an agreement, the case file was referred to the public prosecution, which referred it to the court that convicted the accused of a misdemeanor of non-compliance with the return of the commodity or its value or exchange for free, and he was punished for it with imprisonment for 3 months and a fine of 3,000 Omani riyals. Consumer Protection calls on all merchants and suppliers to abide by the provisions of the Consumer Protection Law and its executive regulations, to abide by transparency and credibility, and to provide proper service when dealing with customers. Starting next week, students across Oman will be administered COVID-19 vaccinations at schools as part of the effort of the Ministry of Health to immunize people against the virus and reduce its spread. All students in private and government schools, inclusive of foreign students, will be administered the second dose of their COVID-19 vaccines, confirmed a ministry official. This will begin next week. The Ministry of Health aims to vaccinate some 339,661 students across the country. So far, 277,381 students have been administered 1 dose, while 28,149 have been jabbed twice. 90% of students between the ages of 12 and 17 across the country have been vaccinated against COVID-19. Nasir Nawaz, the senior principal of the Pakistan school system in Oman, said there were a number of students returning from Pakistan who would benefit from this. We have about 10% of our students in Muscat who were not vaccinated because they had gone back to Pakistan during the pandemic, he said. But in Pakistan, the vaccine is only being administered to those aged 18 and above, so they could not get vaccinated over there. For them, this is an excellent step because it will help them get vaccinated quickly. The vaccination campaign for students aged 12 and above was launched on August 3rd under the joint efforts of the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health. At the same time, some 320,000 students were targeted for vaccinations, with 90,000 of them in Muscat Governorate itself. So far, 4.33 million vaccine doses have been administered to 76.3% of the target population in Oman. 2.71 million people have been provided 1 dose, while 1.626 million have been jabbed twice. Those are local stories. We'll take a short commercial break and we'll be right back.
Oman's largest online supermarket now has no minimum order limit. From grocery to household items, Rafiq has everything that you want. Enjoy worry-free shopping with over 8,000 products to choose from and get it delivered straight to your doorstep. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
International stories. Locals have expressed concern over negative attention after hundreds of dolphins were killed. Conservation activists have called the 400-year-old tradition cruel. The traditional annual killing of whales and dolphins sparked controversy on Tuesday after it emerged that over 1,400 of the marine animals were killed in this year's event. The so-called grinded crab hunt has been going on for over 400 years on the small North Atlantic islands that belong to Denmark. But the large number of animals killed on Sunday has raised fears of tarnishing the island's reputation. The environmental organization Sea Shepherd posted a long video on Facebook showing the slaughter of the 1,428 white-sided dolphins, calling it the largest group of animals killed in one go on the islands. The Switzerland-based marine organization Ocean Care also criticized the practice, saying a line has been crossed here and a new dimension of hunting has been reached. California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom on Tuesday became the second state governor in U.S. history to defeat a recall aimed at removing him from office early. Voters had been called to the ballot box to decide whether to recall the Democratic governor. Republicans aim to oust the incumbent by means of the recall process in the country's most populous and largely Democratic-leaning state. Newsom's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic had angered some Californians, especially conservatives, but he remained ahead in the polls. He won a landslide victory for the post in 2018. The recall process has been questioned over its cost and quirkiness. Voters were first asked if they thought Newsom should stay in power and then asked who they thought should replace him if not. Newsom had to win more than 50% of the first votes to keep his job. If he had failed to, then whichever challenger received the most votes would have become governor, no matter how few votes they won. The US is quietly pressuring India to restart COVID-19 vaccine exports. According to reports, the Biden administration is planning to offer a higher profile role for Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the COVID-19 Global Summit in New York if he agrees to release vaccines soon. Early this year, India halted vaccine exports as coronavirus cases surged in the country. According to sources, convincing Prime Minister Modi to resume vaccine supply is an important part of the Biden administration's strategy to mitigate the international spread of the virus. An administration official acknowledged discussing vaccine exports but denied they are tied to Modi's upcoming participation. We have regularly been communicating with the Government of India in bilateral and multilateral channels to discuss vaccine supply and inquire about the timeline for exports, and these conversations are not tied to a specific summit or engagement, the US official said on the condition of anonymity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit the US later this month to participate along with Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga of Japan, and US President Joseph R. Biden in the Leaders Summit of the Quadrilateral Framework. Prime Minister is also scheduled to address the general debate of the high-level segment of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly on 25 September 2021 in New York. The theme for this year's general debate is building resilience through hope to recover from COVID-19, rebuild sustainably, respond to the needs of the planet, respect the rights of people, and revitalize the United Nations. Biden aides decided against trying to strong-arm Modi by conditioning his participation on his willingness to release COVID-19 vaccines. He'll be welcomed regardless of his decision, according to one of the sources. Those are the international stories. We'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with the sports news.
Oman's largest online supermarket now has no minimum order limit. From grocery to household items, Rafiq has everything that you want. Enjoy worry-free shopping with over 8,000 products to choose from and get it delivered straight to your doorstep. Rafiq, you order, we deliver.
Welcome back to Midday Update. Now for the sports stories. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has termed 18-year-old tennis player Emma Raducanu as talent of the century. Raducanu defeated Leylah Fernandez of Canada in the finals of the US Open to win her maiden Grand Slam. I watched the final and it was absolutely impressive. It's been a long time since I watched a full women's tennis game, to be honest, and I was really impressed by the power, speed and the whole game. Women's tennis is obviously in a brilliant moment, Fernandez said. Further talking about Raducanu, Klopp said, "That's what you can take from it. If you're 18 years old and if you win the US Open, there is one thing that has obviously happened in the last 10 to 15 years, hard work. She is for sure the talent of the century, but without hard work, it is not possible to be there." By winning the US Open as a qualifier, Raducanu earned 2,040 points and jumped 127 spots to number 23. She also overtakes Joanna Konta, she high-ranked woman from Britain. South Africa men's cricket team finished their tour of Sri Lanka in glorious style when they won the final T20 international match in Colombo on Tuesday evening by 10 wickets and made 3-0 clean sweep of the series. It was the Proteas' third victory by this margin, the previous ones being against Pakistan and Zimbabwe, while the unbroken partnership of 121 between Quinton de Kock and Reza Hendricks was a South African record for any wicket partnership against Sri Lanka. The performance also enabled the Proteas to equal their record of 7 successive victories in this format, first achieved in 2009 when they beat Australia twice at home and then won 5 matches in a row in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in England. Remarkably, the Proteas have only lost 1 wicket in the last 2 matches of the series, while the bowlers restricted Sri Lanka to a run a ball in the same games. De Kock was named both man of the match and man of the series. Those are local, international and sports stories for the day. We'll be back with Midday Update tomorrow at the same time, so stay tuned and keep watching TTV.
You've just heard the live feed from the TTV studios on TFM 95.4. Let's talk.